Hello everyone. We are here in Kampala. Welcome here to a new episode of the East African Perspective podcast. I'm here with my co-host, Musanjufu Benjamin. Benjamin, how are you doing?
I'm fine. You're already getting me to a guest. Or you want to put me on the spot?
We want to put you on the spot. Definitely, we all are guests and speakers in these shows because we all bring our own perspective of what we see in East Africa. I guess we have to start by the big points today, right? Just yesterday, Raila Odinga passed out. So, us of you on the East African perspective, we like to have a say about it. Benjamin, what's your take about this man's life?
So he was everything.
Mm.
He never made it to the presidency, but in very many aspects, he ruled Kenya and maybe even East Africa at large. He was very instrumental in the independence of South Sudan, because at that time he was the prime minister. We remember him mostly for 2008. Those of our age, people older will remember him for the attempted coup that led him to go to prison for a very long time. But our age, 2008, for that election that he won, he didn't win, and then the country descended into chaos, and he decided to be a statesman. He went to a power-sharing government. He became prime minister.
Was he the perfect opposition leader? Is he, because sometimes Odinga is portrayed as the perfect opposition leaders because it doesn't cause drama when he lose or win, whatever it is. And also like he knows how to maintain his troops. I mean, he used to know how to maintain his troops. If you compare with other opposition leaders, I'm thinking of Julius Malema, I'm thinking of other people in the regions. Like, do you think he was also known because he was such a good opposition leader for democracy?
He was beyond an opposition leader. That is why post-elections, even the last election, he would end up working with the government. Even the last election he took part in, he ended up going to work with Ruto. He was a statesman. He knew when to put the state first. That was something special about him. It's sad he's gone, but of course, we can't live forever.
It is sad, but also it is time, and Uganda is showing it for a new generation of opposition leaders. We need also like men that represent like that new generations. Don't you think?
Yeah, and he was, I think, if you look at the last crop of people he worked with, he worked very much with the younger generation. If you look at his camp.
But the Gen Z was not exactly his cup of tea, was it?
The Gen Zs.
The Gen Z in Kenya?
No, the Gen Zs, not in Kenya only. The Gen Zs across the world are not easy to work with. They have their demands. So it's not unique to Kenya.
But we should never fear the youth. Have you followed what's happening in Madagascar? Speaking of the Gen Z?
Yes. I have been following. Their former DJ, mayor president has decided
DJ becoming president.
The millennials have the Gen Zs. The Gen Zs have pushed him out.
Yes.
But it's a trend happening across the world.
There's a trend across the world, but there's a specificity in Africa. I've been arguing on other platforms that it is always about 2 points.
Yes.
This generation, like the current time we are in, call for 2 key concept to understand. If you want to understand African politics right now and where those opposition come from, you need to understand sovereignty. You need to understand dignity. People are claiming dignity. If you look at what the Moroccans did, it happened that some women were giving birth and dying out of it. And for Moroccans youth, it wasn't acceptable because it's a question of dignity. And the dignity has been central to the agenda of every single movement in the last 5 or 6 years in Africa. The sovereignty is also happening, especially West Africa, with Burkina, with Mali. The question of how do we keep our sovereignty? How do we keep our economy within our hands? How do we take decisions that benefit the country and not international partners? Dignity and sovereignty. Those are the 2 key words. And if you understand
So when you bring about sovereignty, we go back to Madagascar. Their president looked more of a French puppet. Right from the word go, from the start when he came into power. Because Rajoelina did overthrow, or he was part of a group that overthrew a gentleman that was trying to push out the French. He had even introduced English into schools, and he was pushed out of the country. And then they picked this former DJ.
Ravalumana was his name. Rajolina, at the contrary, I just asked, yesterday we were having a conversation with some of my students in politics, and I was telling them, was Lumumba a DJ? Was Kwame Nkrumah a DJ? Was Napoleon a DJ? Or maybe Barack Obama was a DJ? Why does DJ end up president of a country so young, right? Where is it happening? It's happening when you have France Afrique. When the French are ruling,
Thomas.
No. Rajolina was a French puppet and representation. He has the French nationality. He has the French nationality.
We do have an example.
We have a better DJ here, right?
Yeah.
No, there were other guys that were DJs. But what I'm trying to say is that we live within a time where weak leaders come out of weak elections. And then we can pretend that strong leadership will come out of strong elections. Some want to argue that. That's not what I believe. I believe that it's around, as I said, like leaders that can understand dignity and sovereignty. Those are the leadership that is going to emerge from this period of history we are in. But some people pretend that big leaders like the guys I name, Kwame Nkrumah, Patrice Lumumba, they can come out of an election. It is not the case. Right now, elections are object of a lot of fake news. They are object of a lot of manipulation by foreign powers, and they end up with situations where people have to take their own destiny.
And that is what was happening in Madagascar.
Madagascar is exactly what's happening.
Yeah,
in 2009, Andy Rajolina was put in power with the help of Nicolas Sarkozy, right? He was once again a very young man, so easy to manipulate, right? Towards his time, he has given a lot of advantage to French companies, and he hasn't really went on the anti-French agenda. And so at the moment where his people say, no, we want that dignity, we want that sovereignty, we are tired of what's happening, which is mainly nothing for the country, right? Then what's happened? The French take them out. They fly him out. And also by doing so, we need to understand that it gives appetite to other powers. And we know that in elections against Andy Rajolina in the previous election, the Russians are the strong hands.
Yes, the Russians were there.
The Russians were there playing democracy tactics. So they
were funding parties, they were funding members of parliament.
20 parties.
Yes.
And so they run for elections. They give them money for it. And so the leader of those 20 parties, now we lead the other 20. So the other 20, they don't know about the Russian strategy, but at some point they are told, okay, if you want to continue to get the money, if you want to continue this trend.
And I'm very certain, given Madagascar's strategic location, even Beijing is inside there.
No, it is quite clear that Madagascar exports a lot of things to China, but it's China, Russia, France, they all would be in places like this. We should expect that. The question is, how do we protect ourselves? It's not, is it good or bad for them to do, because that's out of our control.
Anyway,
what's important is how we keep the boundaries and the borders of sovereignty, and how we give a clear leadership message, both for foreign donors and for the population.
So, Thomas, now that Madagascar has a military council or a military leader, is it a trend in Africa? Is it going to continue? Because we have seen it in the Sahel. We are seeing people calling for it. Last week, a Tanzanian aviation Air Force pilot was calling for the overthrow of the government, and then the military had to come up and
calm the things
yes.
down. Calm the things down.
Is Africa moving into that age of
so I'm always concerned when we associate Africa with military rules, because it overshadows other dynamics that are at play. And military are not good rulers or bad rulers per se.
Yes.
What they are is they are a solid institution in a place with no institutions, right? So when all institution crumbles, when your parliament doesn't function, when your judiciary doesn't get money, when your school system is bankrupt, then the military still stay, because even as our guest explained it to us a few weeks ago here,
yes,
a soldier, even without bullets, is still a soldier.
He's still a soldier.
He still can achieve some missions, right?
Yes.
So we definitely have found the continent in the situations where there were a lot of coups that end up, especially at the end of the one-party state. A lot of one-party states were ended up by military coup. Then we moved to a fake democracy era where we pretend to have elections, but those elections ended up electing terrible leaders
Oh.
or leaders that were not interested into the populations. And now it seems like this democratic era is being covered by or stopped by or blocked by new generations of military leaders. And those military leaders have listened to Thomas Sankara. They have listened to Kwame Nkrumah.
Oh.
They have often looked at what happened in Somalia.
Oh.
And so they are much more educated than
They are
on the issue
better-
of Africa. Yeah.
They are a better,
They better understand the situation. They better
Okay.
understand the situation.
mostly because of education and exposure.
Because exposure to the reality of the conflict of their society. They know their society is not
Okay.
at peace, and they know they will be traitors from within.
Okay. Other things that have happened on the continent, I will ask you I will ask for your views about what happened in Egypt when almost all world leaders descended into that coastal resort to put together what they are calling
Yeah, I don't know. Was it
a peace deal.
was
for
it an
Gaza.
African conference? Was it an American conference?
It happened on the African continent.
If I have to ask you, Benjamin, one word about this peace deal, what would be the first word to come for you?
I don't think it's a peace deal.
So you would say surprise. You would say
It looked like more of a business transaction for me.
it does look like a business transaction for
Yes.
you. Okay, detail that point. Tell us. Why would this be?
Because I haven't yet looked at the document, but when President Trump was leaving Egypt, he did say in a few months they're going to have a Gaza rebuilding summit. The moment you hear such, then you know contractors are coming in. And he said it will be led by the Egyptian businessmen.
And the Indonesian government is pulling money, I've heard.
Yeah.
It is, for me, the word what would come out is surprise. Surprise because, of course, we don't really believe in Donald Trump or trust Donald Trump. I mean, in the region, right? Not just globally, but he has announced the peace between DRC and Congo.
And us who are here can't see what is
There
happening.
is a man that used to say those are shithole countries. So very much so to end up with a peace in between Congo and DRC, between Congo, sorry, and Rwanda, you will be in trouble.
He is being driven by the quest to get the Nobel Peace Prize. He wants it so that bad. That is making up all sorts of peace deals.
So
some are very,
when
very
it comes
laughable.
to that peace deal, we are happy the hostage have been liberated. We are happy the freedom fighters of Palestinians have been liberated as well. So I think those are good developments.
At the moment, yes, but there are some very, very dark developments. Of course, both sides are sort of not meeting the agreement. The aid has been cut to half because Israel is demanding for all the bodies, the dead bodies, but I have a feeling even Hamas doesn't know where these people are because they are under the rubble. They were bombed by Israel, and the way that liberation struggle was operating is that some cells didn't know how other cells were operating, so you didn't know where your counterparts are hiding some hostages.
I mean,
So
they
will take time.
Operation,
Yeah.
The war operation failed 40 kilometers outside of 13, I think, something like this. So it's
Yeah,
definitely.
so that happened. In East Africa, coming back to East Africa, there was a development. Commessa launched a local payments platform. So Commessa members are going to are supposed to start using that platform to make payments.
Okay.
Cross-border payments.
Definitely.
And
East Africa is very
the
ahead
problem
also.
is that system will reduce the reliance on the dollar, which is not going to make Washington happy.
We have seen also the central banks are definitely raising like the interest rate in a lot of places around the world, which means more gold is coming in. So the dollars is definitely
In trouble.
threat. But it has been.
And every currency in the region, the Kenyan currency, the Ugandan currency, are all doing a little bit
Very good.
better against
They're doing very good right
the
now.
dollar, like in 10 years.
Yeah, the Ugandan shilling is doing very well.
Yeah.
The Tanzanian shilling is doing very well. So economically talking, like it's quite good.
Yeah.
But it's what do you think of that Nobel Prize, the opposition leader of Venezuela? Because yes, we said Donald Trump didn't get it, but they gave it to someone that is mainly known for trying to sell petrol for the U.S.
No, basically
that's
Machado is Donald Trump. That lady, she is Donald Trump.
She
supports Donald Trump.
She supports Trump, Netanyahu. She supports all the bad guys. That's for
Israel.
Sure. But also, not just that, like she was an opposition leader that said publicly
there is a problem with the Nobel Peace Prize. In the last 10 years, they tend to give it to people who support Western policies or who look favorable to the West.
10-2.
The last time they got shocked is when they gave it to the Ethiopian Prime Minister, who later turned against everything that was.
So do you think we will see the end of Nobel Prize before we see the end of the UN, or we'll see the end of the UN before we see the end of the Prize?
The end of the UN is not a good thing, because I feel like people like Donald Trump, people like Netanyahu are undermining the UN so that it goes down and they have a free reign to do whatever they want. The UN has all its wrongs. It's a colonial tool. It doesn't represent the global majority, but it is being undermined.
But you're missing one point here.
Yes, what's the point?
It doesn't sort out conflict.
Because it has been undermined.
Do not sort out the conflict between China and Taiwan. Do not sort out the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Do not sort out the conflict between Congo and Rwanda. Do not sort out the conflict between Sudan and Sudan.
Look at the veto powers, such aspects. In Sudan, we have seen it. It is America, it is Russia. These people are undermining the UN. There is a reason why they're undermining it. They want it to go down so that it is either very weak and they do whatever they want to do. And that undermines international law. For example, whatever Trump and Egypt and Qatar, whatever they did in Egypt for Gaza, the UN was sidelined until the last moment. How are they going to enforce whatever they said? It is not international law.
Yeah, well, we can see it that way. We can see it that way. I prefer to look at the history of what they have done rather than what they could do for us in the future. But I get your point. I get your point. But what the original point was that even if the Nobel Prize didn't give the Nobel Prize community didn't give the Nobel Prize to Donald Trump, it is still very surprising who they give it to. And the more they do such things, the more they lose credibility to the new generations. And so Nobel Prize used to be a thing for us, for our generation.
Normally the Nobel Committee has reasons. They will give their reasons.
We'll wait. Yeah,
we'll wait for the Nobel lectures. We'll wait for the award in December.
I lost faith in the Nobel Prize, or I start to question the Nobel Prize when they do certain decisions. And for me, the first time I was like, really? What's happening here? Was when they gave it to Barack Obama. I'm not saying I don't like Barack Obama. Of course, Barack Obama is.
They gave it to him for nothing, for talking about peace, and he got the praise.
And he was also
that is why Donald Trump feels
he was also the leader of an army that was like occupying space in Afghanistan, occupying space in Iraq.
Actually, when Barack Obama was president, America ran out of bombs. He dropped so many bombs that they ran out of bombs.
So.
And he got the Nobel Prize. So,
Benjamin, should we do our own Nobel Prize here in East Africa? Should we start to organize it?
Yeah, we should. Yeah, we should. I like what South Africa has done.
So
the Mandela Foundation, they have decided to have Francesca Albanese, the UN Special Rapporteur for Palestine, to go and give a lecture on the 25th of this month.
Okay.
She is supposed to get a Nobel Prize. Yeah. She's.
So you would give it to her?
Yeah.
To her first?
Yeah.
Come on.
She was supposed to get the. From day one, she told us this is going to be a genocide. She told us it was a genocide. Yeah. Now we can't debate if it was a genocide. We can't. The UN commissions are saying it. There is a ruling at the international.
ICG saying
yes, everybody, even organizations in Israel like Bethlehem and newspapers like the Hazet are saying it is a genocide.
But why do you think Netanyahu accepted to stop?
No, he was cornered.
You think so?
Yeah, I think because Donald Trump wants a Nobel Prize, he cornered him to stop. Otherwise, Donald Trump doesn't care about Palestinians.
Guys, I don't know. Tell us in the comments what you think. But personally, my point of view
Yes.
is that this last operation on Gaza, like when they said they're attacking Gaza City,
Yes,
they're
yes,
deploying the whole
yes,
army. That was
yes.
fake. That was to pretend they are going to do it. So when the peace is made, it looks like it was hot. But they have achieved they have achieved all the military targets.
No, they haven't achieved their
They
military
won the war.
targets.
And now
they
they
have
won
what?
the war.
Thomas, they have what?
They won the war.
No, they didn't win the war.
Israel didn't win the war.
No, they didn't win the war.
Is it?
A war is won strategically and tactically. IDF has the best tactics in the world. They did win. Strategically, at the moment, would we talk about Hamas on a podcast 2 years ago, 3 years ago? Would be cancelled. Would be cancelled. Would anybody dare talk about Palestine?
So you're telling me what? The Hamas is winning?
The Hamas, the Palestinian cause, is in a better place than it was before October 7th. I can't believe I'm saying this. Hamas beat Israel. They beat America that was funding, Britain that was providing intelligence. Everybody was funding.
So what evidence do we like? What do you mean Hamas beat Israel? Like, okay, like what?
Do you know how small Gaza is?
Yeah, 13 kilometers by 42, I think. Yeah.
And how long? 2 years. They have taken out all the big Hamas leaders in Gaza and outside Gaza. They have gone on to even bomb other countries. And at the end of the day, they went and signed an agreement with Hamas.
So first, the agreement is not signed with Hamas. Personally, that's one of the points that makes Sharm el-Sheikh
No.
very funny for me.
No.
But let me say that. No Hamas, no Israel on that peace talk. So
No. Trump said in his press conference when he was meeting the Argentinian president, he did meet Hamas. And they did promise him that they were going to give in all the hostages, all the dead bodies. And he said he would give them time to make sure they take out.
Now we listen to Donald Trump because we like what he said.
He said he's American president. He's the president of the free world.
He's the president of
America doesn't negotiate with terrorists.
I can tell you.
They say America doesn't negotiate with terrorists.
Is it?
Trump says he talked to Hamas.
Because they are the terrorists.
So trust me, Israel lost this war. They did lose this war. Actually, they lost the war on October 7th. Can you believe Hamas did that?
So October 7th, I can believe Hamas did that, definitely. But what I see is that Israel has achieved.
Has Israel ever fought a war that long?
You caught me out of guard, but Lebanon in 2007, was it not?
No.
It
It was short. It was short. Israel lost that flat out.
Okay.
Anyway, coming back to the region.
Coming back to East Africa.
Yeah, there is an election coming up.
There's quite a lot of
in
elections
Uganda
coming.
next year, but on the 29th, Tanzania is going to the polls. And we want to...
What are we expecting from this election?
No.
What is the...
it's clear cut.
Yeah.
Samia Suluhu will get her first term.
Yes.
Because the last one wasn't her term. She took over from the president who died.
Okay.
So she's going to serve her first term.
Okay.
Yeah. And she's going to win. She has done everything
Yeah,
to make
that's
sure.
what I'm-
No, she's going to win. She
good
made
for
sure
Tanzania.
the biggest opposition party doesn't have a candidate. He's in prison. And the other parties are...
They're nothing like as
Yeah.
strong as the...
Yeah. So-
Tanzania is still ruled by the one-party state system, which is
For
much
now-
more efficient than
for
those
now,
like
for the
democracies we
next,
have.
maybe for the next 15 years, they will have CCM rule. But with what is happening with the Gen Zs and the region, we don't know where that may go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think from the East African perspective, we have looked at the region, we have looked at Africa and to the world. What's my take from this conversation is that we also have been in a time where there's a lot happening.
Yes, a lot
is happening, but we're not yet understanding the why and the how in that peace deal, but also with what's coming after Raila in Kenya, what is coming for the Tanzanian elections, and time will tell us more.
There is also a development in Sudan. Riek Machar, Dr. Riek Machar, is under trial for treason, and his other 7 sort of lieutenants.
Definitely, we have some good source in South Sudan, so we'll investigate that for you.
And you know, South Sudan has become that country where you can't hold a government office for more than a year. The president just keeps on changing.
Switching.
Every month he's having a new minister for what?
Garang, where are you?
He has just changed his minister of defense because he is fighting in the north of the country.
Okay.
Yeah. And with also this trial happening, the country now looks more fragile than ever. This is a country where, by the way, government workers get salary for only 3 months out of 12.
Wow. Yes.
That's how bad it is.
That's how bad it is. Yeah. There. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for watching or listening to this episode of the East African Perspective, the podcast where you can hear about the news of your regions and try to think outside of the box. We are live in Kampala. We'll see you soon. Don't forget to follow. Don't forget to listen and share if you like what you see, and give us your comments about who won that war. Was it Gaza? Was it Palestinians? Was it Hamas?
So we are also promising to have more guests in a simpler conversational manner, not an interrogation. It's not a hard talk. Just like we have had guests in the past, we are going to continue to have more guests.
Yeah, you've been liking those guests. We've seen it on the videos. We've seen on your comments. So please continue to comment and share. We really appreciate it. It's the best you can do to help us to do the work that we're doing.
Okay, thank you. Nice time.